Welcome to Fastlane for the final race of the Season 4 InThePitsNews Truck Series. Good evening, everyone. I'm Adam Kuhn, and joining me, of course, as always, here on Fastlane is Josh Coppono. Good evening, Josh.
Hey Adam, man, I can't believe we're here tonight, the season finale. Oh, we've got a lot to go over, Adam. So, but I'm excited.
Yeah, a lot to go over tonight. A lot on the line, of course. The championship going to be decided tonight. You and I will be on the call for that race broadcast just after this stream, of course, right here on JCTV. Going to get started a little bit later with that, but Josh, first we're going to interview the four championship contenders tonight racing for this championship finale here at Auto Club Speedway. What do you think of this being the destination of the Final Four? We've kind of talked a little bit about it all season, but tonight's the night. It's here.
I think this is a great place for a championship finale, especially in a format like this. Being that this is the first year for the elimination style, and this track, it is so wide, it's so big. This track is a track where we normally see green flag racing and not a lot of yellows and calamities. So I think, and also in the past, we've seen some pretty crazy finishes here in the InThePitsNews Truck Series as well. So I think this is a great place for this race, and I'm so excited for this thing to get going.
Yeah, I am as well. So we're gonna get started when we come back with interviews from one of our championship contenders tonight, Josh. It's gonna be pretty exciting to hear from what they have to think. Fastlane is also sponsored by Spooky Games. Check them out in Attleboro, Massachusetts, or online at spooky-games.square.site, or on their Facebook today. Links are in the description.
Fastlane, a JCTV podcast, is sponsored by FACES, the National Craniofacial Association.
And now Michael Kruger joins us live on Fastlane. Mikey, you were one of our Championship 4, of course, tonight, here in the final race of Season 4, regular season champion. A lot of momentum your way early in the season, and you had a strong race last week to get into the Final Four, Mikey, but what's it going to take tonight to claim this championship here at Auto Club Speedway?
It's just simply going to come down to just being up front, and it's going to start the beginning of a very strong qualifying effort. I'm going to be honest with myself, I've been terrible in qualifying, I feel like, in my last few races in the playoffs, and Atlanta was like one of my few good qualifying efforts with the second. It just comes to having a great qualifying effort because you don't have to fight through the field, and you get to really kind of just hold on to track position, and really that's really number one. And number two is just trying to keep up front and make sure I just keep track of the big picture by beating the other three guys for tonight. I mean, it's just really because with this format, you don't really have to win the race. But for me tonight, I feel like I'm treating this like it's a must-win type of race because I feel like my competitors, the other three, they're going to be also going for the win and treating it like a must-win. So I feel like I'm going to have to come in here tonight with the mental mindset of being up front and going for the win. Like if I finish second, I'm going to lose the championship, even if I feel like just no matter what.
Well, you mentioned you think it's going to be a must-win. You had a strong run at the sister track to Fontana earlier this season at Michigan, way back early in the season. So with that second place run, but you only led 3 laps in that race. What's it going to take to be out front tonight? Lead some laps and just, like you said, try and keep the other competitors behind you and just kind of focus out in front tonight.
Just be consistent and clean. Just don't do anything drastic that you haven't done all season. Like like some people take a different aggressive tone or approach really to how they'd approach the championship. For me, I'm just going to try to do what I've been doing all season. That's try to stay up front and just try to be as strong as I can on speed and just keep it up front and be up there like I have been all season, contending for races or just riding around close to the front. I mean, I just got to keep doing what I've been doing all season. Don't do anything out of the box or anything. Just keep doing what I've been doing.
So tonight it's two drivers from Radius and two drivers from PBR battling it out for a championship. You from PBR along with teammate Ethan. So right away, I mean, a lot of times they say when it comes to a championship or even at ends of races, there's really no teammates no more. How tonight are you going to work with Ethan in the beginning portions of this race?
I mean, yeah, we're going to help each other out. We're going to do what we got to do, really. We're going to feed each other information. Like, we're going to do what we can to kind of help each other because we've worked well together all season. I feel like we've been pretty solid partners between one another on, like, how to attack races, and I feel like we've been pretty good together. I just feel like really for us, I mean, it's of course conflicting interests between battling each other for the championship, but for me, I just feel like we can work with each other all the way until maybe it gets about 10 or 15 laps to go or so, unless we know, like, we can't, we've been teammates all season, but at this point, we gotta kind of fight each other as long as both of us, or at least one of us, are in contention to win. Of course, the ideal situation would be both of us contending for the win, so that, like, we would kind of like at least maybe one of us would have a chance at winning a championship for Piston Broke Racing. But really, we can work together pretty much most of the race. But when it comes down to it at the end, if we're 1-2 or up front, like 1, 2, 3, 4, or like in the top four at any point, we're gonna just have to fight each other out and just try to just go away from being teammates at the moment and just try to work each other. Of course, cleanly. I'd like to battle them as clean as I can. I mean, I've made mistakes this season. I've screwed up racing people for the win or just being up front. I've made dumb mistakes, causing wrecks or such, and I felt really guilty about it. And hopefully tonight, when it comes down to it, I'll race people clean and not the person that screws up or causes a wreck that puts my teammate or a championship contender out. I just want to race people as clean, as fair as I can, to which they race me.
You've come really close to winning a championship in the series in the past. You've won some really big races. You've won a ton of races in the series. You have yet to win a championship. So what will a championship mean for your Blazers Sim Racing in the Pits News Truck Series career?
I mean, it would mean everything. I mean, when I first joined this league back in season 1, I mean, I just came in, I was just like, I don't care what happens. I just would like to just win one race, and I don't care what happens after that. I mean, I never would have possibly have imagined one day to actually have a chance of actually winning a championship or being in contention for one like tonight or winning as many races I have in the InThePitsNews Truck Series. I mean, I've been thankful for the journey and everything that's led me to be at this point tonight to compete for a championship. I mean, it'd mean so much to me to be crowned champion. I mean, it's come with a lot of trials and tribulation in this league, and hopefully I can cap it off, especially from this season, by winning it all. And it would mean so much to me, and it would just mean everything. As it'd be just great to win it here in this great league, and everything that's happened. I mean, it would mean the world.
Well, Michael, absolutely. That's going to be a great goal tonight. You said you want to just get there and be consistent all night tonight. Before we let you go and let you back into the practice session that you're currently top of the charts on very early in this session, Anyone you want to shout out and thank you early on tonight before you head out on the track for 100 laps tonight in the race?
Well, first and foremost, I gotta thank my mom and dad. They've been probably my biggest supporters. Really cheered me on from my races. I gotta thank them so much, especially just cheering me on, being my biggest fans. I gotta thank Josh really for having me a part of Piston Broke Racing. Like, if you told me in season 2 that we'd be competing for a championship at this level, I don't know if I would have believed it then. But I gotta thank him for having me a part of Piston Broke Racing and my teammates Ethan Seca Moreno and some of my other teammates such as Zach Probston, Jacob Locklear, Jonathan Canfield. I gotta thank those guys so much, and I gotta thank you guys for what you do every week, and also I gotta lastly thank the admins Cam and Alonso for what they do. Gotta thank those guys for what they do for this league and where they're taking it. I gotta thank those guys also.
All right, thank you, Michael, for your time, and good luck tonight in the final race of Season 4.
Thank you, Adam.
That is driver the number 14, like you mentioned, Josh, Piston Broke Racing. Number 14 competitor tonight in the championship 4, going to be strong to watch out for tonight at Auto Club Speedway, I think, Josh. And of course, someone else who's going to be strong, a former series champion in the InThePitsNews Truck Series. Josh, real quick before we bring him in here, what do you think about Alonso Chicano being back in the championship 4 after a down season last season?
Yeah, I think this is kind of relief for him. He is such a tough competitor. Alonso is a guy that loves winning, and I know he is happy to be here. He's eager, and as you mentioned, he's already won one. I think he's kind of got the least amount of pressure on him, as he's already won one. So those guys trying to go for one uh, could make more mistakes than Alonso tonight.
You know what, Josh, that's a great question. Let's ask him what he thinks about that, see if he's under any less pressure. Already having done this, obviously a little bit of different format, but uh, Alonso Gicano joining us now on Fastlane. Good evening, Alonso. Going to be looking for championship number 2. So do you think a lot of these guys, of course, the 3 other drivers tonight racing for championship number 1. Josh has posed an interesting theory. I'm going to ask it to you. Do you feel like you're under any less pressure tonight, having already done this before?
Maybe. Possibly. I mean, there's pressure's always there. I'm not sure how the other guys are feeling, so I can't really speak for them, but definitely want to get championship number 2, so I'm excited to be here, and I would really love to be the first multi-time champion in this league. So I know there's definitely pressure for me. I can't speak for anybody else, but I can see why you would probably think that. But yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know. I don't know how they feel.
That's a great answer, Alonso. Good perspective, but there's going to be 100 laps tonight here at Fontana. What do you think of that being just a straight-up race for the championship, no points? You don't have to really worry about the stage, and having a great accumulation there in the points like you have all playoffs long, really chasing that cutoff line.
Yeah, I mean, as good as our playoffs have been, I feel like they could have been even better, just because we barely made it to the cutoff, and if some things would have maybe gone our way a little bit more, it most likely wouldn't even have been a stressful race last week. So it's nice going into this race not having to worry about points anymore. We came here and have done almost everything that we've come out here to do. There's just one more thing, but yeah, the stage is gonna be a lot less stressful, not having to worry about getting stage points or going for the stage win, and it's gonna be all about just setting yourself up for that second stage.
Tonight, of course, the one thing that these playoffs allow is for drivers that aren't racing for a championship to still race in the race. And we know it doesn't necessarily take a win to win the championship, but we've seen in real NASCAR where the winner of the race has been champion, as they've been in the Final Four. So, where do you see, the gloves, I guess, really coming off? If you have a competitor for a championship racing near you, and there's somebody else that's not in the championship hunt racing around you guys, but just all together. When do you say the gloves really come off? Where say, hey, I need you to get out of the way because myself and this other guy battling here.
I feel like the gloves have been off with some people for a while, but going into this race, I mean, Justin and I, we know how we race each other. Some of these other guys can be a little bit more predictable. So it's really hard to say. It just depends on how the race is setting up to be. If we're all racing each other coming down to a late caution and we're all racing around each other, then yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to be as aggressive as you can be, but at the same time, you want to be smart because you don't want to ruin your own race. But the last few races, racing with Ethan, he's raced really aggressively, whether he knows it or not, more aggressively than he has in the past. So you got to be aggressive with him because you can't be slacking or no slouch racing with him. And Michael, I mean, he's always been an aggressive driver. So have I, but just aggressive in different ways. So Michael, I've raced longer with, so we kind of also have a little bit more of an understanding of how we race each other. Even though we have gone into each other a few times in the past, but it just all depends on what the situation is. If there's a late caution, then with like 10 to go or less, then for sure the gloves are off for absolutely everybody in the Final Four. But if it's a long run and we're battling each other, hopefully at least we can respect each other enough to come down to the end and have a clean race. But we'll see.
Who do you think is your biggest competition going into tonight's race?
Could possibly be myself. Just the decisions I make, what I decide to do, what I don't decide to do. Kind of like you are your own worst enemy type thing, possibly, but that's probably not the answer you were looking for.
Actually,
it's really hard to say because
I actually expected you to say yourself, but I was wondering if you were going to say one of the other three.
well, it's just so hard to pick one the other three, just because all of them have been so fast all season long. I mean, all three of them have had races where they've shown how strong they are. I mean, Michael has been leading the points almost all season long. Me and him have been 1 and 2 almost all season long in the regular season. And Ethan, I mean, he showed he kind of pretty much laid his cards on the table at Dover and showed what he can do. Justin, even when he, sometimes he hasn't had all the luck, but we know what he can do at these type of races, winning at Michigan and just being so fast at these 2-mile tracks and being so good on the long run. It's so hard to pick one out of just those three because all of them have almost taken turns just showing their strength individually throughout the season.
Well, Alonso, thank you for your time as you get set here for a big night here at Auto Club Speedway, racing for this championship, of course. Like we mentioned earlier, going for number 2. But Alonso, before we let you go and back to the practice session, who do you have to thank and shout out here who've gotten you this far this season in the InThePitsNews Truck Series?
Everyone at Radius Racing, Obviously, all my teammates practicing with each other and racing with each other. Um, Not Famous Racing Apparel, all my sponsors, Celsius Energy, Habanero's Mexican Grill, Mardon PC. But obviously, huge thanks to In the Pits News for sponsoring me the last few seasons, sponsoring this league the last few seasons. It's um honestly, I mean, I don't know, maybe not a lot of people really care about that sort of thing, but it is going to be sad not calling it In the Pits News Tricks anymore after the season. It's kind of the end of the first chapter for this league, and we're going to be starting a new one with Amsoil. But just In the Pits News has been so great for us, for this league, and for myself and Radius Racing. So I'd like to, thank you, Adam, on behalf of all of us for In the Pits News, and yeah, just really like to thank you guys.
Absolutely, Alonzo. And like I said before, thanks for your time and good luck racing for this championship tonight.
Thank you.
Well, Josh, that was Alonzo Chicano, driver of the number 25 for Radius Racing. Running a little bit late here, of course, started a little bit late, Josh, so I think it's time to move with Justin Durand and the driver of the number 5 truck and see what he's thinking. Hey, Justin, joining us now on Fastlane Live. I want to start off with saying, what are you going to have to do tonight to win the pole again? Because you've gotten 5 front row starts in the playoffs, 7 poles this season. Do you think it's going to be super critical to win the pole again tonight?
That'd be a nice confidence boost to know what kind of speed you have. Probably won't be a huge factor compared to other tracks because of how much drafting you get. But I mean, you'll never complain if you qualify up front. So obviously, the further up front, the better, obviously. But let's see what we got for tonight.
Well, you mentioned drafting being such a crucial factor here at Auto Club Speedway. Like the other track, 2 Mile track at Michigan, you won earlier this season in the In the Pits News Truck Series. You're going to have to repeat that, or maybe not necessarily repeat that tonight, but probably going to have to be up there in the mix. What do you think of the track conditions so far that we've seen in this practice session?
Track feels kind of how typical Auto Club is. Very slick. It actually wears the tires out pretty good, so it makes the long run really fun. It's going to be a lot of throttle control, and see if you can get to that bottom.
Well, Justin, of course, you won last week at Atlanta to get into this championship for going back to back tonight. Would that be just a great way to win the championship, of course, but obviously other competitors on the racetrack tonight. What are you going to have with the risk versus reward racing in the pack tonight?
You just got to be more aware with how easy you can get 3 to 5 wide at this place. So it's just really about putting yourself in a good spot to minimize the risk of anything bad happening to you. Because typically in real life, you usually require to win the race to beat the other 3 guys to win the championship. I think it's going to be like that tonight, but we'll see. So in the pack, just got to be smart, take our time, and see if we can just make our way forward.
Now this race course. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, sorry. This race course. Points don't really matter at all for you guys, because it's all a matter of just finishing ahead of the other 3. So we start off, stage 1, with 25 laps, and then after that, it's 75 laps that uh, may or may not go green. So these first 25 laps, are you going to use those as just kind of an experiment for what may or may not work for the next 75?
I'm gonna give a good feel of the track. Um, it'll still probably change a little bit further tonight as it gets darker later in the race. Um, but it's really those first 25 before the caution is just to get as best of a track position for yourself as you can. Even with the drafting, obviously the further up front is going to be the better.
Now, Justin, thanks for joining us, of course, on Fastlane. Getting ready for this championship race. Such an important race here in this season, of course. It's going to be very exciting to see what you can do tonight. Before we let you go back into practice and get started for this race tonight, who do you want to shout out and thank? And shout out everyone who's gotten you here this season so far.
Just relatively thanking the whole league, everybody that's supported everybody along the way, everybody that's shown up for races for this 4th season. Big thank you to you and InThePitsNews for sponsoring this for 4 seasons. It's going to be bittersweet to see that sponsor go. Just going to be really excited to run this tonight. Like the 2-mile tracks, obviously I won Michigan, so we're hoping for the same result tonight. Hopefully we can put on a good show for you guys.
Absolutely. Best of luck, Justin. Good luck racing for this championship, and good luck, and hopefully maybe we'll be talking to you later tonight.
I sure hope so. Thanks, guys.
Josh, that was Justin Duran, driver of the number 5 truck for Radius Racing. He's, of course, looking for win number 3 on the season. Like I mentioned, won last week at Atlanta last Saturday night, and earlier this season at a track very similar to this at Auto Club at Michigan. So he's going to be one to look out for, I think, tonight, Josh.
Yeah, I think he's probably the most conservative out of all the other 4 drivers, but I think that you still can't just think, he's going to be conservative. He's not going to be aggressive, so kind of write him off for the team. No, I think Justin is a great candidate to really win this championship tonight. He is just so good. The man knows how to wheel a race car, and I think it's going to be so tough for me to sit up here and tell you guys who my pick to win is later. But I think he's got just as good of a chance as anybody else.
Now, Josh, before we get to our 4th interview of the program, let's take a look at the quick stats of these championship 4 contenders, the 4 drivers who have advanced this far in the Pits News Season 4 playoffs. Alonso Chicano going to be bottom of that list with his lone win at USA Speedway this season, but he's had a strong season, Josh. Like we mentioned earlier, a little bit better this season than his last. He's had a pretty significant amount of top 10 finishes, so pretty consistent and a very solid average finish this year, Josh.
Yeah, it kind of surprises me just having that one win, but his season has, still been really good. You talked about the average finish, 8.14. I mean, Alonso, he's really good under pressure. He's really good as a race car driver, despite the fact that he has one win. I mean, I think he easily could turn that into 2 wins tonight and a championship to go with it.
Man, we haven't spoken to yet on this Fastlane program is Ethan Fonseca Moreno. He is not yet connected to the server, Josh, and a little bit of a surprise. I would think he would be one of the most popular favorites for this championship with his success late this season. Really all season he's had a strong year, leading nearly 500 laps, but he's really turned it up in these playoffs and collecting 4 wins all season long, Josh. But what do you think of him not yet being here?
So he is a PBR driver, and I'm the PBR owner. So I did see in chat that he fell asleep. He woke up, and my guess is he's just kind of waking up, taking Bruno, his dog, outside, taking care of the animals, the pets, and I think he'll be here soon. But I think this guy, he races every night, and I think that he has a great racing mentality. He races in just about anything and everything that he can get his hands on throughout the week. I think overall he's prepared. And though he's not here in the session right now turning some laps, I still think that you're not going to see any rust coming out here in the Truck It Auto Club. I think he's going to be, right back to where he has been and running up front.
I think you're right. I think he's going to be the one to look out for late in this race. He's especially in these playoffs. He has had a very strong long run truck, and it might just come down to that tonight. Michael Kruger, of course, the regular season champion, with the best average finish so far of these championship 4 drivers. A very strong season, Josh. Very quiet at times, but always in the mix and very loud when he has his wins. And of course, Justin Duran, who we just heard from a moment ago, 2 wins this season, like we mentioned, and he's had a very unsuccessful season getting to the end in some of these races, Josh. Just unfortunate circumstances, but like last season, he is in the mix. But now, Josh, I think we have some exciting news to break with our 4th guest here on this program.
Yeah, and I'm really excited for this part. So let's go ahead and bring him in.
Of course, that's going to be the owner of the Blazer Sim Racing League, Cameron Carlo, now joins us here on Fastlane.
Hello.
Well, good evening, Cameron. We're here to end the season. We're going to crown a champion tonight. Unfortunately, you are not part of this championship 4, but you're going to see you on the racetrack tonight. You're going to be one of the several drivers mixing it up for the win. Before we have some news to break, let's talk about your chances at stealing victory tonight. What do you think of that 12 machine?
Yeah, I feel pretty good about it. I always feel good when we come here. I feel pretty good about my long run pace. Obviously, last week Justin was the one to beat. It seemed like Justin and Ethan, and I was a little bit off pace compared to Justin, and obviously he went on to win the race. But this time I've been able to keep up with him. So I think I can certainly get the win here. It's going to be a big draft fest, though, so it's like just kind of managing the gaps and whatnot. But I always feel confident coming here. It's what I consider my home track, even though I live up in Oregon. Other than Sonoma, it's the closest oval to me, maybe. But I used to live about 10 minutes away from it, so it's definitely one of my favorite tracks, if not my favorite. So always love coming here. It's a popular track, so hoping for a good run tonight.
It's going to be a great race tonight, we hope, and it's going to be very exciting. A couple of drivers, of course, have mentioned end of an era tonight, the last race of the InThePitsNews Truck Series. Under that name, going to have a new title sponsor next season, Cameron, and we are here to announce this schedule for next year, but first wanted to mention you're running a throwback paint scheme tonight to your Season 1 championship.
Yeah, the idea came to me a couple days ago. I was kind of looking for something to run because I just felt like, again, end of the era, so I felt like running the most successful InThePitsNews sponsored paint scheme in the league's history would be fitting for its last race. So I'm pulling it out of the shed, basically, and hoping to give it one last good run. As I was putting it together for this weekend's race, I was a little sad I didn't run it before tonight because it's a good looking truck and it's a hard scheme to beat. Like, I've always tried to top it after all the other InThePitsNews schemes I made, and I'm not sure if I've done that yet because it's a really good scheme. So maybe it just holds too many good memories for me to beat it, but I'm a huge fan of it, so I'm glad to use it one more time.
Of course, I'm biased, but I'm going to be wishing the best of fortunes for that paint scheme tonight, Cameron. All right, it's time to unveil the Season 5 schedule. Tell us when we begin, and tell us when we wrap up, and all the additions, all the changes, all the things we're going to see Saturday nights beginning next year right here on JCTV.
Yep. So we begin season 5, the first season of the BSR AMSOIL trucks at Daytona on January 6, 2024, the first Saturday of 2024, I believe. And then we wrap it up the season at Charlotte, June 15th, 2024. So we go about 6 months, give or take. 21 races next season. I think we had 23 this season, so down a couple of races, but we've really set ourselves up to have 2 seasons a year, a and B season, if you will. So the schedules will line up a lot better starting in season 5. As far as new additions go, I don't think we have really any new additions other than the road courses. We're running 2 new road courses next season. First, race 5 at the Daytona road course, February 10th, and then Lime Rock Park, April 6th, which that one I personally am looking forward to. I don't have a whole lot of experience at Lime Rock, but it's just a fun track because it's kind of puts the drivers up against themselves rather than racing others because of how narrow it is and all the grass around the track. So that one's going to be fun, I think. We bring back New Hampshire and Richmond in the regular season. It's been some tracks that a couple people have wanted to see back. I don't think we've ran New Hampshire since season 1, Richmond since season 2. So they've had some time off, but we're coming back to them. Rockingham returns. We ran it for the first time this season and went overall pretty well, so we're happy to bring it back. We start the playoffs at Texas. We end the regular season at Homestead. Other than that, I think it's a pretty good schedule overall. There are some tracks that we'd like to have on there that aren't, but you can only have so many tracks in a season, and we'll have them back for season 6. The Atlanta race, March 30th, will be on the new Atlanta service, so that'll be our second plate race. And yeah, so looking like it's gonna be a good season. We're gonna have the same elimination style format as real life NASCAR does, and as we do this current season. So 3 rounds, and we'll decide our champion in Charlotte, like I said earlier.
Very exciting. Thank you for talking us through that, Cameron. And like I said before, best of luck tonight here in the final race of Season 4. It's going to be very exciting, and you're just going to be one of those spoilers here on the racetrack, and hopefully it's going to be a show for us up in the broadcast booth.
Yep, that's the plan as always. Just going to try to put on a show for the viewers and you guys up there. So one last thing, Josh, I appreciate you stepping into the booth for the last race of the season. I know you'd much rather be out on the track, but just know we all really appreciate when you're able to step in when situations come up. So hope to see you on a track at some point next season or elsewhere. And Adam, thanks as always for broadcasting. Thanks to our other commentators, Ben Smith, Jonathan Parker, and everyone else who's hopped in the booth this season. Couldn't run the Liga successfully without you guys. Adam, thank you for being the title sponsor within the Pits News for the last 4 seasons. I was listening to Alonso and Justin's interviews, and as I said, it's pretty bittersweet to see it go away. I was never a big fan of Orange, but this running the In the Pits News truck series with all the orange and yellow, it's made me much more of a fan of the orange. So it'll be sad to see that color go away, but here's to the next era, if you will.
Absolutely. Thank you, Cameron.
And Cam, I just want to say, one track that I see next season I'd love to run at is the penultimate race, which is Michigan, and I hate that it's the penultimate race. But, I mean, maybe I still can race it.
Yep, we'll see what happens come June 8th.
And kind of, on that note, as that's Cameron Caldwell, the commissioner and owner of the league and main admin who puts us on and allows us to have a lot of fun Saturday nights. Kind of the news is that I'm not racing full time next season because Dawson Allen, he really wants to race, And so we're switching roles again. And so he's going to be, I'm pretty sure, full time next season. We'll be up here in the booth. So, I'm sad to turn the steering wheel in, but I'm telling you, I love this league so much. And been here since the beginning. And we're going to keep having fun.
Yeah, I hate to see that you're turning the steering wheel in, but appreciate you spending time with us up here in the booth, Josh. And to conclude this last edition of Fastlane Live for Season 4 of the In the Pits News Truck Series, I want to thank you, Josh, for once again producing for me and streaming for everyone at home for this edition of Fastlane Live, and uh, interviewing everyone else with me. And it's been a fun, quick show, and sorry we ran very, very late and we started a little bit late, but we got a lot of good details in this episode and a lot of good interviews, and it's going to be a very exciting race here. Just getting started here tonight, Josh, and thank you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We are just getting started, as you mentioned. I see Adam has already posted the link in the comment section for where we're about to be. So I think, we're going to end this. May catch a breath real quick, and we're going to hop right into it and call the penultimate, or I'm sorry, not the penultimate, the finale of the season. So here at Auto Club, I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready to crown a champion. It's been a long season, but boy, has it been fun.